doesn't that like ice your back?
Ugh, arthritis been a motherfucker. Hey, we're live. What's up?
Did you hear that weed can like lessen
Easy-
the issues?
Easy Cheech. You went to the West Coast once.
Want to start?
No, seriously, it's
You ever
like
look at a $20 bill on weed, man?
weed, man. There's a guy in the bushes. There's a guy in the bush. No, he's not.
Red team go.
No, apparently, like weed is good for arthritis.
Absolutely.
Not that, yeah. Right.
You live
Not
in
that I know.
I'm just gonna cut that out to weed is good.
Goes
Come to Earth.
make it
Yeah,
a meme.
put
Just
it here
put
for
on
me.
top of it. Goes to West Coast once, and then just have them
And
say
make it a meme.
that weed is good. Video meme. Tweeting this bitch out or what?
Oh yeah, it's been tweeted.
It's been tweeted.
It's been twizzled.
Twatted.
Oh, Zoe, look at you. You were trading photos on Twitter too.
Yeah, because I was waiting for my wife. I was freezing. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's F the pig.
What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, February 1st. That year that we call January is finally over, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zwoski. They call me Zoe. And with me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto.
You should be excited. Manny's coming finally. Maybe.
Sure. And Matt Anuko.
Hey, I got a fancy drink this week.
It does look fancy. And from Vegas, Mr. K Fizz. What's up, Kevin?
What's up, guys? Just braving the polar vortex here in Las Vegas.
Oh, I already hate you. All right, everybody. We have a jam-packed show as we'll get into free agencies finally going to start, and we'll explain why we say that. We're going to talk a little bit about my experience at Sox Fest, and then we're going to talk about why the Padres are going to win every World Series for the next decade or two. So, with all that being said, let's just dive right into it. Let's tap this keg. All right, everybody. Again, this show is brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you're going and downloading the app and enabling push notifications. Check out our brothers at SM Vegas as well for all the Vegas sports news. But sportsmockery.com, Sports Mockery app, enable push notifications. You'll know when Manny arrives on the south side before anybody else does. So sportsmockery.com. And then also sponsor of the show, the Tick Blitz, tickblitz.com, TIXBLITZ.com. And this week's tickblitz.com stat of the week is Mr. Nolan Arenado.
Caliendo.
Frank Caliendo.
That's an easy one.
Arenado. I know I was cruising too. Nolan Arenado just got a $26 million arbitration deal, making it the highest arbitration deal in the history of baseball. And it also makes him the seventh highest paid player in Major League Baseball. So that is your very stumbled tickblitz.com stat of the week, TIXBLITZ.com, Tick Blitz. Go get your tickets there. Everything's guaranteed, no hidden fees and no tax stuff. I saw a dude, I went on another ticket site and I was going to buy 2 tickets that should have totaled like $110. And then after taxes, it was like 300 something else. Took that phone away from my wife and went right to Tick Blitz. No taxes. Got them for what I should have got them. So tickblitz.com, TIXBLITZ.com. All right. That's the business stuff out of the way. And we are finally here. We're finally in February 1st. And now, before we get started talking about all this offseason stuff, in the intro, although I said that free agency has finally started.
Finally here, baby, after 3 months.
It's finally here after 3 months. I was the idiot on this show, and I'll wear that crown for more reasons than one. But this time, it's because I've been the one that's been, is it going to happen this week? Oh, I feel good about today. Ooh, here we go. And you guys the whole time have been like, it's not happening till February. Kevin, I know you're big on Valentine's Day. You got this whole theatrical thing going in your head. Nuke, you just always think I'm an idiot. And then although you had this February thing going, and then I was still just not buying it. And then a couple days ago, although you sent something in our show chat, and it hit me like a polar vortex, like boom, right across the face. And why don't you go ahead and share that with the rest of the class here so people know what I'm talking about?
See, I'm not going to blame you. You're a White Sox fan, and the new free agency process that like drags on forever is really like a couple years old. But especially last year we saw it, and we didn't think it was going to happen again this year, but it did. But again, I'm not going to blame White Sox fans for freaking out at every little rumor that comes out because the team hasn't gone after like a big guy in forever.
That's fair.
But we saw this last year where the top 5 contracts that were handed out or that players agreed to, like that news didn't break until February. And in the case of Jake Arrieta, he didn't sign until like the middle of spring training.
March.
So yeah, like he signed on March
11th.
11th with the Phillies. So like last year, the biggest deal was Eric Hosmer with the Padres. That was on February 17th. Yu Darvish was the 10th. JD Martinez and the Red Sox, that was the 19th. And that was like a done deal. Remember? It was like, oh, yeah, that's a sure thing. Yep. That took until what? Like a week into spring training?
I think it was, yep.
And then let's see. The Brewers got Lorenzo Cain on he was like the earliest of the biggest deals. That was January 25th. And then Arrieta had the 5th biggest free agent contract, and that was March 11th. Also, Arrieta, a Boris client. So
true.
These deals, they're just taking longer. I mean, Theo Epstein, I remember he said at the Cubs convention where, you know, for whatever reason, GMs are just treating like the start of free agency and like are just slowing things down until January. So, I mean, free agency starts like at the end of November, but like the big talks and like actually trying to work things out or work out big trades. And we're seeing that with JT Realmuto in the Marlins. That's been rumored for like since November. Nothing's been close. It's like these things are just for some reason just slowing down. Teams aren't like actually getting together with players until like January and February now.
Right. And we had a couple meetings at the we had a couple meetings at the winter meetings, but as we stand here on February 1st when this goes out, just now we're starting to see like Bryce Harper's taking meetings. Manny Machado's scheduling some meetings. It's like they waited till February 1st, and looking back at it now, like I feel shame.
Well, I think my only I think the reason that Arrieta was so late was because of his age, and he was a Boris client, and notoriously, you know, Boris clients sign late or hold out, but also because they want exorbitant amount of monies and money that's like, you know, silly, funny money, you know? So I think a lot of this is if GMs, you know, GMs are unwilling to give players, they're not afraid of other teams anymore. They're not afraid of other teams jumping in front of them and giving the players what they want, or afraid of being outbid too early, because I think they know, well, there's safety there's currency in my farm systems. If I got to make a trade, I'll make a trade. We saw Theo do it a bunch, you know, like he traded away Gleyber Torres to get who was it? Chapman, right?
And they even traded Soler to get Davis a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, it brought him a World Series back in 2016. So they have money in that sense, or they have currency in that sense. And I think they've kind of learned, like, you know, you get bitten by these long-term contracts for crazy money. So, you know, I just don't think there's a rush. I don't think there's any kind of collusion like some are suggesting on Twitter that, you know, owners are trying and GMs are trying to drive down prices and they're working together to kill the market for free agents. But I just don't think they're willing to spend as quickly as they used to. And it works out in favor of a lot of teams like the Cubs and the Padres, because it gives them more time to restructure their balance sheets, figure out where they can move money and how they can move money on trades first. Because I think GMs, I already said it, I'm repeating myself and I'll shut up after this, but I think GMs are just looking to trade players first, or as like a 1A option, rather than just go out and say, I'm going to drop $350 million over 10 years below the balance sheet to smithereens, go past the luxury tax, pay extravagant amounts of money, and have players that have never won a World Series. I mean, it's not one player in baseball. So
I think the other thing is we're seeing, and I know I worded this incorrectly when we were talking on Twitter, although more numbers guys. And when I say numbers guys, I'm not talking about sabermetrics. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like pencil pushing accountants, guys with accounting degrees and shit like that in front office roles. And because of that, again, I agree with you, Nuke. I don't think it's, they're not calling each other on burner phones like, we're going to take this market down. See, apparently they're 1920s gangsters now too. But
take your Tommy gun with you.
Yeah,
Cigar hanging out the side of their mouth, Branch Rickey, and
but I think what we're seeing is just a fiscally smarter front offices, and because of that, the market is what it is now. It's not just, I don't know, it's different. It's more educated. I'm not trying to say past GMs and front office guys were dumb. I'm just saying
well, sometimes they were. I mean, sometimes they were just gunslingers, man. They just throw money at stuff, right?
And I kind of wish it was still like that, but it's not.
That's more fun for us.
Right.
I mean,
that's why we're here.
I agree that it's smarter, and it's smarter not to like do like a ridiculous contracts. And I even get it for last year. Because, I mean, the guys who got signed, I mean, Hosmer is like, okay, he got the most money. There's concerns about Darvish. There's concerns about Arrieta. JD Martinez was a DH. Fine.
JD Martinez raked.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, for this offseason, it just doesn't make sense for Machado and Harper. Because the market should dictate that, like, a lot of teams want these guys. Because they're not 30 years old. They're in their mid-20s. It's like, that's the only part that is like, come on, what the hell is going on?
That is a great point. Although you've been saying it for months too, and it's so simplistic, but it's so accurate. Signing good players is a good thing. Like, it's like how easy more can you break this down for these GMs? But you're absolutely right that these guys are young, and it's just wild to me. And this is a good segue into the next area what we want to talk. That multiple reports come out on Thursday that for these two arguably entering their prime, all world players, there's 4 teams.
14. And then maybe
four legitimate teams.
Yeah, right? 4 legitimate teams. And then there's guys looking easy. I know, although
well, isn't it interesting though? I mean, like Brian Kenny just put out a tweet, and Zoe, you brought it up. Brian Kenny just put out a tweet where they put Harper through the shredder.
Right.
To the hard analytics.
Did not look good.
Right, exactly. These teams know that.
Right.
They know that. They can say trends or yo-yoing. So when, Harper comes out with 350 and 10 and, teams might be like, well, I don't know about that. You've had some injuries. You've tapered off in defensive value. You don't take the extra base the way you used to. Your on-base percentage has gone up and down all over the place. And your slugging percentage isn't what it once was. Now we know you're entering your prime, but at the same time, it's like, well, we have to go on past performance as well. Have you earned it?
Right.
Because how many contracts do we see, or short-term contracts do we see where it's like, well, they earned it last year, And
that's one of the things that was brought up out of these other teams that were interested, not the main four. And for the record, the main 4 ones are the Nationals, the Phillies, the White Sox, and the Padres. And then there was other teams lurking, Cubs. And I said it. You guys happy? I said Cubs. And then,
Thank you.
But they said the lurking team, I guess, teams.
The mystery team.
They're more interested in short-term deals. And that's why they're considered not as serious, because the 4 that I mentioned before are reportedly willing to shell out 7 to 10 year kind of deals. Now, it's so wild to me, but that shredder thing was incredibly eye-opening. Just, if I'm going to give a guy a 7-year deal, I need you to perform at least 6 out of those 7. None of this every other year shit. Like,
right.
You've actually mentioned this before too, Zoe, about, the potential, perhaps a lockout or a strike coming, some sort of work stoppage.
For sure.
And you're dealing with a contract again. Now you start looking at the sabermetrics, and is this person actually worth the 7 to 10 year commitment? And you've got an agent that wants to drive that market in that direction, who is, in Boris's case at least, yeah, he's hate him or not, he's got the biggest balls in the industry, and he goes out there and it's a staring contest still, I think, at this point, because he's going to say, we're going to take the 10 years. We want 10. We're going to get 10 years. And some of these owners are probably sitting here going, I'll give you 4. And so there's probably a giant chasm between them, because, again, the owners know something, and they don't even have to communicate. You know, when people say there's collusion, if they're pencil pushing stat nerds or numbers nerds or even, you know, financial nerds, that means that they've read that they don't have to read a tea leaf. They're looking at a bottom line, and it's quick analysis to see that the money just isn't there or isn't worth spending. And I think that they don't have to communicate to collude. They're all looking at the same numbers.
Yes, we are balls deep in the numbers era of baseball. Analytics, financial, name it, numbers. It's all numbers now. All numbers.
And you know, Boris, on the other hand, on the other side of this coin, Boris is legendary for having his black book, right? The whole pitch book.
Did he have like 300 pages ready?
Right,
for,
where he
rebuts.
Yeah, where he rebuts everything. And I mean, if I'm Boris and you show me those stats, you know, from Kenny's from going through the shredder, I'm like, well, he's entering his prime. You know, he hasn't had an injury in a few years. He's back to 100%. You know, now he's in his prime. You know, I mean, like, and I'm sure he has, you know, numbers to back it up. But then the team comes back with like, well, historically, these types of deals have worked this way. 25% of these deals work out, you know, decently. You know, only 5% are true boons for the organization and the player. I mean, so yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we like these at some point there reaches a saturation point where like it's paralysis by analysis, and one of these guys just has to choose, you know, like, and I know, Zoe, you've wanted this for 2 months now, you know, they're just going to have to make a decision and just go, you know. I think, I mean, is Harper going to pull a Le'Veon Bell? Absolutely not. He can't.
Nope. Baseball,
you can't do it. You have to play. So, you know, if he doesn't get his money or he just takes the best offer, I would not be surprised. I mean, I could see, again, kind of like the way Arrieta went, I could see this going into March and kind of deep into March. I mean, how much time does he really need, you know, at spring training to get to know his teammates, to, you know, catch up on, you know, tracking pitches, work on his eye? I mean, I'm sure he's working with people in the off season, you know, other pitchers. Now, granted, like, you know, professional level pitchers go off to spring training, but, you know, there's ways to get around that. I think that at least, you know, keeps him fresh. Where
yesterday he was pushing sleds, and today he is at some kind of Pilates class.
Yeah.
Oh, taking advice from Arrieta.
And Nuke, you actually said it too. You keep saying, you know, in his prime. I know this sounds completely out of left field, but I think about Bryce's his body and the potential that concerns could be there, that he might actually, because of, look, the dude was doing the circuit, playing 100, 150 games a year when he was 10. Right. He's been doing that since before he got his first short and curly under his armpit. You know, he's you know, his body, you know, he had a wrist injury as a junior or sophomore in high school. Like, he's had, you know, he's put his body through the ringer, and that's assuming that nothing's been put into his body that might make his body break down later on or sooner. I know he's a pretty clean cut guy, but that's a lot of wear and tear on a body at a young age. Could that be something they're concerned with? Maybe they believe that the prime, it's kind of like giving a foreign player that doesn't have a birth certificate. You know, you always add 2 or 3 years. Maybe with Bryce's body and his usage as a kid, they're adding 2 or 3 years, and they're actually concerned that he might be beyond, or, you know, only a portion of the contract to be when he's actually in his prime.
Absolutely. You know what? Teams would be smart to do that. Absolutely. You know, I think few people really understand that kind of toll of over 100 games a year. And I mean, like, how you can feel well beyond your years.
And he was a catcher then.
That's right. And that's an extra burden. So, I mean, I remember when I stopped playing at 23, you know, part of the reason I stopped was because I was like, my body hurts. I took a year off. I felt 18 again. But man, at 23, 1, they called me old, and 2, it was like, my body's tired. So yeah, totally. Especially the way the game's going with rest, like a guy like Gabe Kapler. So, I mean, like Gabe Kapler in Philly, and I got to believe this is probably part of the pitch. This is great that you brought this up, Kevin, because Kapler was a big guy on rest. like guru about, he like suns his nuts or something. I don't know. But he knows, he figures out that like guys need rest. Guys need to take breaks here and there. And so I wonder if the Phillies have pitched it a little bit to him like, yeah, we've seen you've been playing, how many games have you played over the last 10 years, well over 1,000. You don't need to, to keep you in your prime or to keep you physically healthy. We're going to give you 2 days off a week. I don't know.
I mean,
By the way,
or maybe Gabe Kapler just tell him to go out in center field and take his pants off and sun his nuts.
by the way, one last thing on that Kenny and the Brian Kenny breakdown, like the defensive stuff and the base running, that's definitely gone down for Harper. But even at the end, he's still a top 6 hitter in the past 4 years. So,
but the thing that stood out to me the most is when Kenny goes, he went from a potential 5-tool all-star to a one-dimensional slugger. I was like,
but the game has gone that way too, though.
I mean,
but you're right.
He's second behind Mike Trout in on-base percentage. I'll take it.
Right.
100 times.
That is one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the defense.
He doesn't steal bases. Okay. The defense. Okay. The one thing I'll say about the defense, that was like a, because I mean, come on, are we gonna go off 1 year metric stats for defense? Because if we are, then Kyle Schwarber is like a Gold Glove outfielder,
the best left fielder in the game.
So if we're gonna go off base things on 1 year stats,
right? And Javi's an MVP candidate next year too.
Well, maybe. Okay,
maybe.
But the thing on Harper that I heard, and I wouldn't like put this out of the question, like think about the injuries that he's had before. So in 2018, if he's not going all out in the outfield because he wants to protect against injuries, and like his defense suffered, okay, I'll take that he'll be like an average defender from the rest for when he signs compared to when it was his contract year and he doesn't want to get hurt.
Then he becomes that Johnny Hustle for
That's
Machado. But it's totally.
Though.
But I've said it before. You can't. And Bryce, I think, was this way. Kevin, you could probably give more insight on this. Bryce was a balls to the wall, all gas, no break.
His favorite player's P. Rose.
Right. And it's awesome to watch. And personally, I believe that's the way you should play the game. But you can't play 160 games that way. You cannot play 162 games that way.
That's the interesting dynamic between Machado and Harper. It's like, Machado doesn't hustle. Machado doesn't hustle, but like Machado's played the most games in the past 5 years. And then you have Harper, who's like playing 110% every play, but he's had some huge injuries.
Right.
Except like, what do you want?
Except on pop-ups. There's no 100% there. That's about 4%. That's why you get his ass choked out.
Applebaum again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
let's talk about this interesting fourth team that has seemed to
the Padres are coming.
Enter this derby here for these free agents, which is the San Diego, does not stand for Whale's vagina, Padres, and they are apparently they're in on everyone. They're trading for JT Realmuto. They're meeting with Harper. They want to meet with Manny. Padres are going for it. They're coming at you. But they do have 10 prospects in the top 100, including the number 2 overall, Tatis Jr.
Tatis Jr.
Tatis really started having a night with those names tonight.
Oh, man.
Come on, man.
Tatis Jr.
I said Tatis.
Tatis.
Wait.
Imagine you're against the titties.
Are you going to break the
really fast there?
Are you going to break the keyboard?
We've got a Whale's vagina and Tatis.
Tatties. It's a Chicago accent in there, so.
No, I'm just. It hurts to say it, so I can't even get it out right. Fucking
Junior
Fields. Yeah, Junior, number 2 overall prospect. So basically, what I'm saying with the 10 prospects in the top 100, I mean, they could easily. They have the horses to make the best offer possible for Realmuto. Like, I don't see anyone coming close to what the Padres can offer. So that seems very realistic to me. And as we were saying before the show started, if they make that deal, get JT, they got to go for it. And if that happens, they just start throwing the aforementioned funny money at these two huge free agents. And to be honest with you, it's kind of scary. Like they're just swooping in, and I don't know. In my stupid brain, I can't picture either Manny or Bryce rocking that Padres uni. I just can't see it. But
could you picture Hosmer doing it last year though?
I've never pictured Hosmer doing anything.
I never really picture anybody in a San Diego uniform. I don't even know what it looks like.
Right. That's why I had to send you guys that picture, because someone made a picture and I was like, this is what it looks like.
Well, Nuke, I think you addressed it last week when it first came out that the Padres were actually interested in Machado, and Tom Fernelli, huge White Sox fan. You can follow him at Right Sox on Twitter.
Right Sox, hilarious.
And he brought up, like, it's one thing to lose out on, like, all right, the Phillies offered him more money. The Yankees like swooped in, and like that's just his favorite team, and that's where he wanted to go anyway. But if the White Sox lose out to the San Diego Padres for Manny Machado, oh my God.
Yeah, I won't be happy about that.
I'll just watch the world burn.
They would
the good news is
the
good news is the latest is that even though the Padres are going to meet with Harper on Friday, I think, in Las Vegas. They reportedly they want to meet with Machado, but I think it's Dennis Lin from The Athletic, covers the Padres. They're more interested in Machado and they want to meet with him, but as of like Thursday, Machado's like, I don't really want to meet with you yet. So, and there's the rumor that Machado doesn't like the West Coast. He doesn't want to be out there. So maybe he's like, that's fine that you're interested, but I'm not interested in you. So I wouldn't be worried. That doesn't make sense. I wouldn't be worried yet about the Padres and Machado.
Why doesn't it make sense to you, Nuke?
No, just because from a negotiation standpoint, send Lozano out there. Well, you know what? Do the whole LeBron thing. Bring me out, put me up, whatever. I'll spend a weekend here or whatever. Show me around, wine and dine me, then give me my offer. And then I'll take that over to the White Sox and the Yankees and whoever else and the Phillies and just say, do better.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if it's not better, then obviously you're like, you better play it up like it might be better. You know, at least it's another team.
Mm-hmm. You know, I definitely think Manny's eventually going to take the meeting.
Right.
But, you know, right now it's not like Manny's like that desperate. He's desperate because he hasn't signed yet. So, but he's not that desperate to like, yeah, come on down, San Diego.
Right.
Or come see me. Right, exactly.
Yeah, because I think that was the thing. Like, they wanted to go to Miami, but so far, nothing from Machado's side. Which is hilarious. And it's hilarious because, like, there's also the whole rumor that, you know, Harper doesn't like Philadelphia. So you just have these guys who are just really, you have 4 teams in on each, but maybe it's only 3. And
I mean, it could be down to 1 at this point. It could literally be down to like one guy, like Manny's sitting there saying, well, 7 and 75, 175. That's the best I got. All the rest are 4 and like 120. And he just is like waiting around for it to come, and it's not coming. And he's just going to sit there and wait until March.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I think the reported offer, whatever you want to believe, the 7 for 175 or 7 for 210, or the 8 for 250, whatever it is, for Machado and for Harper, that's like the only reported offer that's been out there. Mm-hmm. Like the Phillies for Harper, there hasn't been a report of they've offered this. Like the Sox are like the only team that's offered anything to one of those 2 players.
And from
those numbers,
I was gonna say from 2 people that know Bryce, that know him. Like I would say one of them I would say is extremely close. Both responses was that he's doesn't really want to go. It's not at the top. Philly is not at the top of his list. Not a favorite. One of them said he doesn't like it at all, and then when asked, well, that kind of kills it, then their response was, no, he's going to go where they're going to pay him the most. And both of them, totally separate conversations. And again, 2 people that are, I'd say, know him pretty damn well, both said that it's going to come down to money. That's it. It doesn't matter. He'll go to a place he's not super sold on and give it a shot if he's paid well. And I think Philly, that's probably why he hasn't locked Philly in. I still think Philly's where it's going to be, because I think they're going to offer the most. But it is going to come down, for Bryce at least, it's going to come down to money. And I'm not entirely sure that that's the case with Manny. I think Manny might be looking for comfort and maybe a family environment. Again, but that's what makes the White Sox, I think, so appealing for him compared to the others, is that he can come in and he could grow. He's patient enough to grow with something. I think Bryce is dealing with a legacy issue too, because he's like the LeBron James of baseball. He's got 0 titles, nothing to show for all this ability and hype, and he needs it now more than later. And Machado, I think, is willing to take it later. I don't think he's in any rush, which is very different kind of personality traits too.
What do you guys think? The number in my head is 7 years, 210.
You know
Manny?
that not one, like Ken Rosenthal hasn't jumped in on any of this stuff. Does that send a message?
I think that means there hasn't been like a solid offer.
There isn't a solid number out there, right?
They were waiting for the Arenado contract or the Arenado arbitration to drop and see what an arbiter might come up with a number, and then of course you push that 4 or 5 million north or south based on how what you believe in the player, because that's 26 million. That's a chunk of change.
Yeah, oh my God.
I think definitely for Machado, because it's the same position basically, or I guess Manny wants to play shortstop, but he's been a third baseman, but like he can point to that and be like, hey, this guy just got 26 million arbitration. Right. I'm a free agent now. Give me my money.
I mean, I think what we're talking about is that's true, because what if Arenado only got 22 or 20? Then you can legitimately go back to Machado and say, well, if that's the level beneath you, we'll give you 25. And then you're right at that 7 and 175.
Well,
right?
good thing it went that. A good thing they settled, because what if it went the other way? Because he was asking for 30 million, and I think they were offering 24. It's like if they didn't settle,
24, right? Exactly.
If they didn't settle and they go to arbitration like in a couple weeks, and for whatever reason the arbitrator goes, all right, you get your 30 million, then Machado has to be like on cloud 9. It's like, all right, here we go.
Which is that's pretty insane. That tells me that, you know what, they're not, 26 million for 1 year, the smart move for the Rockies. I think Rosenthal even mentioned that there was like longer term discussions too. So maybe they've paid him a little bit more, obviously they paid him more than what they wanted to, what the initial offer was. But one, could that be a little bit of good faith? And two, could that be a little bit of gamesmanship inside of the organization, knowing that, maybe we'll push these salaries a little bit higher for those free agents, knowing next year's free agency, Arenado is the crown jewel of that free agency class. We have a leg up on that. We're not going to be in on Harper and Machado. We're not. So, does that move the needle a little bit? I mean, there's so much here. The way that we are micromanaging this and not even in the room and not even experts at this.
Whoa.
I mean, I know.
Speak for yourself.
But I mean, think about that, though. What are these guys that actually have the numbers, the metrics, the values that they're talking about? Do
you guys think that some of these agents were gambling that Arenado would actually hit the arbiter, as opposed to coming, obviously coming up to an agreement beforehand? Do you think they were hoping maybe it would go there, and then like an independent arbitrator might actually?
Absolutely.
I'm curious. I haven't looked this up, but what was he expected to get on the arbitration tracker on MLB Trade Rumors?
I don't know, but I guarantee you.
But it probably wasn't 26, right?
I guarantee you, both agents, when that number came out today, went, shit.
I don't know. I think they were like, that's. I don't know.
It has to be, because the 26 million now has to be the base. That's like we're at least getting 26.
We're at least getting 26 million a year, right? And probably more. I mean, would any? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Machado's a much better player than Nolan Arenado.
I don't think it's much, but I think he's better.
He's clearly a better player.
Yes.
If you first pick, you're the captain. Are you taking Arenado or are you taking Machado?
Machado.
So put him in that $30 million area.
That's what I said. 7 years, 210.
But this 26 million makes that 30 number more real. Because if it was 22 he got, or 24, you could shift down a little bit, in my opinion. Is he $4 million better? Is Machado on average for the next 10 years $4 million better than this 1 year of Arenado? I'd say so.
I'd say yes to that. For sure, I'd say yes to that. Are you guys looking up the ARB thing?
MLB trade room says
Trying to find it.
26.1, but I don't know if that's just what he agreed to.
That's what
Oh, yes, it is, because they probably already filled it in. No, I see here that they have the projected and then what they signed for.
So it's
Let me see.
26.
Don't tell me. There's no way they would have said 26.
You know, I think that's just what he actually signed for. Because I'm looking at the Cubs, and they have
26.1. Yeah.
because they have the Cubs at their total, and that's what they signed for. So I think they just filled it in. So I
No
don't
way. Because you see Chris Russ in there, projected 1.7, signed for 1.675. Could they have actually projected 26 million?
No, I think that's he signed with a different team.
Not
I
Nolan
think
Arenado.
No, but the other.
Oh, Russell?
wait,
No,
no.
it's only
No.
4 years. Yeah.
Did MLB trade rooms just not get that right?
God. There's no way. Well, shout out to MLB trade.
I know that. I know their
right.
formula has been like pretty good, but
Pretty close, right? I mean, they're close on everything, but I mean, some of them they're off. But some of these guys are like no-name guys. Like they were $1 million off of Jesse Hahn with the Royals. That's insane. They got that right.
So
I mean, they were asking for 24 and he wanted 30?
yeah,
And he got 26? Oh, yeah.
that's 26.
No, but I mean, like,
But then
MLB trade room
before the free agency, MLB trade rumors like projects the arbitration, and it says 26.1.
right, and that's like back in that's like back in November.
No, oh my God, no! I just have it. I have another article from November. That's what they projected him at, 26.1. So they were right.
So their algorithm's on point.
Yep, good for MLB trade rumors.
So to put a bow on this, do any of you think that San Diego lands either one of these guys?
No.
I'm gonna say no. If I had to make a choice, no. I could see maybe Bryce going because it seems like, you know, he's a Vegas guy. It's West Coast. It's closer to home. You know, it's easy to get around. I mean,
did Harper get married in San Diego?
No, but he says bro a lot and brah. So I'm sure he enjoys that.
I think bro and brah.
He's already a Cali bro. So
I don't think the Padres are out of it. I mean, I really think I'm kind of big on the throwing a little shade of the Dodgers up north kind of theory too, is that they've taken a pounding from their fans. They had a real bad 2015 free agency. It's taken them 4 years to, you know, build up that farm system. And you got LA going up there and 2 World Series in a row and an NLCS, so 3 NLCSs in a row. And you've got, you know, San Diego's it's only the Padres now in San Diego. You can't, you know, at least direct your attention or divert it over to the Chargers because now they've moved up to LA. Again, another LA issue. And so it wouldn't shock me, I guess, if the Padres said, you know, F it, let's go for it. They threw their hand in and just I wouldn't be, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be absolutely, it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't say no.
Here's what I don't think they have the willingness to go for broke like the Phillies and the White Sox might do, where it's like literally they get in a 1-2, you know, back and forth bidding war. I think when it comes down to it, the Padres will not overpay for either one of those players. I don't necessarily think the White Sox and the Phillies want to overpay for it, but if I had to say somebody's going to make it happen, like it's a matter of $5 million. Are you going to do it, Matt Klentak in Philly? Yeah, he's going to do it. And I just don't think the Padres will go that far. I think the White Sox will go far. I think the Phillies are willing to go furthest, but I agree. I just don't think that San Diego can pull it off.
I think they land JT for sure. And then I agree. I think that it'll get to the limit, and at the 13th hour, Philly will just come in and be like, fuck it, throw 5 on top.
Teabag the table.
Yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're all at with San Diego coming into this free agency race.
And for any San Diego fans that listen to this podcast, because we know we have a lot,
right?
Easy, bro.
I don't think that's a bad thing either, because I think they have so much talent coming up that they might be all right.
Saw, dude.
Shock, bro.
Saw, dude. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much it. I mean, went to Sox Fest on the weekend. Met a bunch of dudes.
You met your heroes.
Yeah, it was
You
pretty
took a selfie with your hero.
And I didn't do it in front of everyone either. I played it cool and waited till like they like went off to the side and was like, "Hey, man." I had to like do.
Hey, you.
I had to pantomime it because they didn't speak English, but was impressed with Aloy. It doesn't sound like he can understand English too well. Like if someone asked him a question, he still had it translated to him, but then he would answer in English. So
He wants to play with Manny and Bryce.
yeah, I mean he spoke pretty clear, pretty good English, and then Lubab just no.
Yeah, he wasn't even.
Well, he's only been in the States for like 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, that dude eats a lot of Dominoes. He always posts Instagram stories of him going to like fast food places. Like,
Did you ask him about that?
I don't speak Spanish.
So you got to brush up on your Spanish.
Yeah, the translator.
Dominoes.
They have like one translator guy, and he would only stand by the player that had like the big huddle around him.
Right.
So like Lubab and Adolfo and all those guys were like standing in the corner by themselves, and no one was talking. There was one Deportes reporter there, and he went up and like did a round, and then no one else went over there and talked to them.
Where was Hector
And they're
Gilmore?
like,
What's
Google
up?
Translate. Google Translate's excellent.
I should have just did that on my phone, like typed it out and been like, here, just
That's what I meant to say.
and make
Big
it like
J.
make it like a yes or no question and be like,
Do you like Domino's?
Are you worried about eating fast food every day? No.
You should have asked them if they eat as many Twinkies as Yohan Moncada used to when he ate like 200 a week.
Right. But it was weird though.
They're like four of the biggest, most like, anticipated players too.
And I was getting pissed because I wanted to go talk to him, but I couldn't.
You got to be bilingual.
Yeah, I'm right on top of that, Rose.
Talk to your boy though, Nick Madrigal. He had his quotes were.
Yeah. Hey, you are so much taller than him.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
And
But
I can't believe you didn't remind him and Collins that they were guests on the show.
I mean, you're just so unforgettable, Nuke. I just thought that they would automatically just remember that. But
Remember when you talked to our guy?
I think they were just weirded out by like it was a weird situation. So you go down into like this hotel ballroom, like a conference room, like anybody in sales or anything that's ever gone to a conference, it's like a orange lit, dim, bad rug conference room. And we stood there for the Ricks. Rick and Ricky did their thing. And then all of a sudden, like you turned around and it was just
Bunch of players
just scattered all over the place. Like nothing set, nothing. The MLB guys all had the white pinstripe home jerseys on, and the minor league guys, for the most part, had the solid black on. But some of them were mixed up. And then so I'm just like standing there looking around. I don't know how to do this shit. I've never done this before. And I'm just looking around. I look over and I'm just like, well, at least I knew who these guys were. So that was good. And I looked over. I was like, well, there's Dylan Cease, and literally no one's talking to this guy. He's just standing there like super awkward. Like, I hope someone comes and talks to me.
like little like puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, like they were just.
He has a very soft look.
But he was super cool. Like he was the first guy I walked up to, so I had some nerves going. I was like, hey, Dylan Cease, Matt Zwaski, Pinwheels and Ivy show. Can I just, ask you a question or two and get it on camera and we'll put it out as a podcast? He's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like you couldn't have been, he was super nice and like went right into professional mode as soon as I asked the question. And then like, he's like, so where were you? And I was like, Pinwheels and Ivy. It's, he's like, oh, it says blog on your badge. I was like, yeah, I'm not with one of the papers or anything like that. He's like, oh, no, that's cool. That's cool. And he walked away and I looked over and there's a nun like yelling at Daniel Polka. And I was like, well, I'm going to go over there and check that out for a minute. Walked over and saw that. And she was giving him some shit, dude. And this nun was cursing like a sailor, too. It was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Sister Mary Jean or Sister Mary Jo?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Chicago had so many fucking famous sisters that are associated with sports. My bad.
And So I was laughing at that, and then I look over as I'm laughing at that, and there's Zach Collins just standing there. So I was like, oh,
Did not realize that Zach Collins looked like that.
yeah, and he just, I mean, same deal. Answered questions. He's a kind of a bro.
Is he a catcher of the future?
I don't know.
Matt,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I got a guy on the other line about some.
I don't know.
He's a hitter.
Yeah, he didn't get a lot of love from the MLB.com prospect stuff. I mean, he's in
He didn't. He's out. He used to be a top
From
100.
Dallas.
Right?
Yeah, he was top 100, not anymore, but he's still
Oh.
top 10 for the White Sox. But
It's been 2 years of not doing very well with the bat.
right, and then Magic happened, and I got to talk to my boy Madrigal, and he was very cool. Definitely had his lady with him. A lot of these guys did, but he was the first one that like.
They were in the press pool there?
Dude, it
The
wasn't
ladies?
like a press pool. It was just an open floor of people just standing
Well,
around.
right, but like the general population couldn't go there.
was-
You had a press badge.
It was an awkward party with no booze. People were just standing around, just like
Why didn't
waiting
you?
for people to come up to them. So I just went up to the people. that
Right,
spoke
exactly.
English.
That's exactly what you were supposed to do. You told me you this wasn't your first rodeo.
That was his
Not in
first
sales, but for talking to professional players, yeah. I've been doing
Well,
sales.
you should have said that. You should have given that same analogy to Daniel Polka. Isn't this like an awkward party with no booze? He would have understood that.
But talk to Madrigal. He said he's gonna hit the weights. He's very nice, short dude, but super nice guy. And I got to talk to Polka, and he corrected me, and it's not a mohawk, it's a mullet. Said
That was
mohawks are
tough. That was tough, though. Right out of the bat, he's like, "It's not a mohawk, dude."
it's definitely a mohawk. It was not a mullet, but he said mohawks are too fancy for him, so he's gonna work on the mullet. And then we talked about how he could take that nun deep, and then the nun quote tweeted that. That was pretty cool.
And then opening ceremonies, everybody was chanting Manny.
Yeah, it was weird. So
Was it?
they go,
They were chanting someone's name that may not sign with the White Sox.
yeah, so they cram us all in this corner, and you're supposed to just like videotape people walking out from behind a curtain. And Ozzy comes out, everyone goes nuts. And then Steve Stone gets announced, and these like group of 5 dudes just start booing hard. Like everyone's just kind of like cheering, like, yeah, Steve Stone. And then these 5 guys, boo, like super loud. And one guy
Was that led by Nuke? Was that you, Nuke?
I was there. How'd you know?
And this one guy, and I saw who they were. Like I made eye contact with the one, and the one guy just screams, "We don't want you!"
Ooh,
And
tough
it was
crowd.
quiet enough in there where you can hear him clear as day. And everybody kind of turned at these guys like, "It's fucking Steve Stone. Relax, dude. Like, what are you doing?" And like, Steve played it off pretty well, but he was like walking, and he kind of like hesitated for a second, like, "The fuck?" And he kept going.
Oh God!
Did he have a stogie?
What?
Did he have a stogie with him?
No,
Oh.
Steve. Nah. And then, and then they announced Rick Hahn, and a good portion of the crowd just started chanting, "Manny, Manny, Manny." He kind of got like a half smile. Rick Hahn went up a couple notches in my book after hearing him talk at the press conference. And
No. Here's the
Sure.
thing: if the White Sox don't sign Manny Machado,
Right.
Rick's gonna have a lot of pissed off fans.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He tried to soften that blow a little bit when he's like, "No, I think our fans will reel it." No, Rick.
So, especially after his Friday comments, where he's like, "No, we're definitely in on these guys. We have moves lined up. People are gonna know that we're not cheap. That we're actually trying to spend money. So if they don't get either,
And one of the weird things that I thought he kept saying though was like, I'm gonna take it very personal if we don't get him. I'm like, okay, dude, like it's not gonna soften the blow for me as a fan to be like, but you know what, guys? Rick feels bad. So
yeah, this can't be one of those. This can't be like, oh, we were in the mix. Like,
Nope.
no,
Guys,
you
we-
better deliver at this
We
point.
tried. We tried.
guys, it's okay. It sucks we didn't get Manny, but you know what? Rick's taking this pretty personal, pretty hard. I'm good with it.
I don't know, but what message does that send? I like that message because
Oh,
you don't
I'm
hear
all for
GM
it.
say that, right?
Oh, I've never heard a GM say that.
Right.
And I'm all for him saying it, but now you got to do it, bro. Like, bruh, there's a lot of bras and bras being thrown around
Bruh.
here. But
Come on, bruh.
It is gonna suck if, for whatever reason, it turns out that the Sox did offer the most, but
And he just
doesn't
didn't
get-
choose them.
and he just doesn't pick them. That has to be the worst look ever.
that would
It's
be
like you signed this guy's like brother-in-law, you have his like other best friend, and you still couldn't get him.
So
And
was
you
that?
offered-
Did he? I can't remember. Did he say that specifically to Machado? Zoe, that like if he
we
doesn't
don't
sign
land
Machado,
he goes,
one
if
of
we
those
don't land
guys.
one of these top free agents, and then some craft reporter asks him like, "What are the chances that they get Harper and Machado?" He's like, "What? No." He's like, "What are you talking about?" To it, like,
Yeah,
we're not
it's
getting
gonna
both.
happen. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just weird. And yeah, although to your point though, that would be the ultimate kick in White Sox fans' nuts if it comes out that they offered Manny the most and he picks.
But would
someone
you
else.
be angry? Would you be angry with Han?
I mean, at that point, no, but it would
No.
hurt. I think it would hurt more if they did offer the most, but he just didn't pick them compared to someone offered him more.
What if he picked the Padres and they offered him less money?
That would be
Oh, jeez.
It would be
would be
Cleveland after the announcement.
right. If we walk away, if opening day comes and their big offseason move was trading for Jock Peterson,
Yeah, because that's happening.
that's gonna be rough. It still might happen, man.
Hey, it's not dead yet.
It's not dead. Still
Okay.
might happen. A lot of time.
I got my draft. It's ready.
Off-season
But,
Icarus. in
So, how
place.
was that gut
That's
feeling
right.
that you had about the jog trade happening last weekend?
Still think it might go down. I wouldn't say it's dead yet. I'm not hashtag dead yet.
Would you say it's on life support?
I'd still throw it. It's pretty.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it flailing?
I would say it's likely.
You gotta work your sources.
Likely.
Has a
Likely's
sprained
good.
ankle.
Yeah, I still think it's likely.
All
I
right,
still-
Matt Zawoski is reporting
Nope.
that nope.
Do it. Finish it, Aldo.
Jock Peterson trade to the White Sox is likely. You heard it here first.
You know that's going to be the titles, though. You're in trouble now.
My feeling is it's likely. There's no source on this or anything. I still think the deal makes sense.
It's gonna be a headline tomorrow.
I think it still goes. But I also think, like most of these free agent deals, because what did you say, Aldo? Like 52% of free agents still aren't signed?
Yeah, it's like
Over
52 or
50%.
53.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a ridiculous number of free agents are still left out there. And there's these guys that are apparently on trade blocks like JT, Jock, all these guys. And it's like the entire MLB is just on a stalemate. It's just
Oh, Han said that he has like 3 to 4 moves that he
3 to
thinks
4
he can
moves.
still get done.
Yep.
What do you guys think those could be? Besides, obviously, Manny or Bryce.
Mike
That-
Trout.
We could
Well,
have a
it's
whole
this
Mike
off.
Trout.
Well, that means trading away Lubov. So
Didn't we already go? I mean, like we started
Yeah,
that whole
should
Mike
we
Trout
rehash this
trade like
thing?
back in like July. But
way to catch
Um,
up the rest of baseball.
yeah, about time. But didn't somebody on White Sox Twitter put out a poll like who would you trade for Mike Trout?
Oh,
and
no,
like
are
so-
Sox
some-
fans turning
somebody-
into Cardinals fans with the
No, didn't this happen, Zoe?
Yeah, and they
Do you remember-
basically just listed all of the Sox top 10 prospects.
And like they were like, no.
you.
And
It's
everybody
like-
was like, no. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. I'll give them anything they want for Mike
wouldn't-
Trout.
I wouldn't
Cardinals fan wouldn't trade
Yachty.
yeah.
No way, bro. No way,
Why
bro.
would you trade a 38-year-old catcher for a 27-year-old best player of all time?
You only get 2 years of Trout, bro.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the 1 year of Yachty compared to
This
He's
is the
gonna go to
Brad
the
cast.
Phillies anyway. He's gonna go. to
He
the Phillies
handles
anyway.
pitchers so much better than Mike Trout.
Stop, bro.
I bet if you gave like Trout one off season, he could probably be like a decent catcher. Probably.
Oh my God,
Shit,
literally.
you give him a spring training. Mike Trout play any position on that field. You give him one. spring
Literally.
training.
Do you think he could be a pitcher, though?
Oh, I mean, Nuke,
No.
would you like that?
I listen. I'd let Mike Trout pitch.
I mean, I'm sure he can figure it out.
What if he just walked up there and like blew 95?
I mean, he does have a pretty good arm in center.
It could be just like MLB The Show with him. He just
With
show
a
up one day.
hammer.
Stretch out of the stretch only.
He just shows up one day and he's just like, guys, I'm gonna play third base today.
12-6 curveball. Just bang.
Oh, just a hammer with a good sink and run on his changeup.
He just has a natural sink on his fastball. Just
Climb.
94.
Or he
Get
blows
back.
everybody's mind and drops the Charlie Huff knuckleball on everybody. Sidearm at 45 miles an hour.
That'd be sick. And then he bats third and hits 3 home runs.
I feel like we need to start the website. Do you remember probably about 10 years ago the Chuck Norris and
Mike Trout.
and Bauer, Jack Bauer? Jack Bauer's calendar goes from March 30th to April 2nd. He never gets fooled.
Trout facts.
Trout facts. There you go.
Mike Trout decided that he wanted to strike the whole league out, so he threw 9 fastballs. I don't know, something silly like that. Like there has to be these like crazy jokes. Like he just decided to play third today.
Out of boredom, Mike Trout struck out the Yankees 2, 3, and 4 hitters, throwing only knuckleballs.
Just for fun.
Mike Trout threw left-handed and threw a complete game shutout.
When Mike Trout jumps into a lake, he doesn't get wet. The lake gets Mike Trout.
Yes. I like it.
You're all night, folks.
All right, that's game 96 of free agency right there.
So next week's TixBlitz.com stat of the week will be some sort of Mike Trout.
Yes, it'll be Trout facts.
Trout doesn't swim. He walks on water.
But we have to mix in some like real
Trout
ones.
is God.
We have to mix in some real ones that are so ridiculous. So it's like, whoa. Like Mike Trout is already the best player at age. Mike Trout is better than like a Hall of Famer at age 27.
He's better than all the Hall of Famers. He has the highest WAR of all time.
Well, not yet.
Does he have that? No, he doesn't have the highest WAR of all
He has
time.
the
I think he had
highest-
the highest season WAR last year, didn't he?
That was it.
Or he,
Yeah.
or certain like for a part of the season. I don't even know.
He's about to
Did he
catch
have-
someone this year, like another Hall of Famer.
God, get him out of Anaheim.
So good.
Please get him out of Anaheim.
So good.
I mean, in 2 years, we're going to do the Mike Trout pursuit. He's going to sign in like April.
No, Mike Trout is such a good
Mike Trout will sign on like December 31st because just like I don't care, whatever.
No, he's going to sign like in the first day of free agency.
Yeah, November 1st, Mike Trout's gonna be like, "Going Philly." Done.
What if he signed 1-year deals worth like $50 million?
That'd be so great.
I mean, that's what LeBron's basically doing for the last 6 years.
Yeah, but is he the highest player and is he the highest paid player in the NBA?
No, because he's only doing
Doesn't do long term, and he's older.
He only does 1-year deals because he knows that NBA keeps getting more TV money every year.
So he waits.
Yep. He bets on himself every year, and he's LeBron freaking James. So you're gonna win. You're gonna have a good time doing that.
Mm-hmm. He did a 3-year deal with LA, right? Or 1?
Is it 3? I think. Isn't it 3?
3 are their
With an
options.
opt-out? Yeah, there's probably opt-outs.
Yeah.
I think.
Aren't they a dumpster fire, or do I not like watch LA?
No, they
He
are.
just hasn't
but-
played in a while.
I saw like Luke, he's gonna get Luke Walton fired again,
Yeah,
or
Chip's
not
gonna be
again.
Coach killer.
By the way, you want to talk about a difference in leagues? NBA, you have like Porzingis asking for a trade, and he gets traded like an hour later. Meanwhile, you have like Machado and Harper not signing for 3 months. Real Muto waiting to get traded.
Yeah. Since we've turned this into an NBA podcast, how about that statement from the Pelicans on Anthony Davis?
By the way,
that was wild. They were like strong. That was strongly worded. Like, we will do what's best for the Pelicans.
like we all know that like even
Which just
though
moved to Las Vegas, by the way.
by the way, we all know like the MLB free agency is like kind of screwed up, and like guys just aren't signing that fast. But like for the most part, the MLBPA has like the strongest player union for like the pro leagues.
Right.
But like, how is it that in the NFL and NBA, guys can just like demand trades and like they get traded? Like
Right.
you never see that in Major League Baseball though, and like these contracts are guaranteed. It's like guys could technically sit out, I guess.
But we are seeing a lot. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has felt this way with some of these contracts. A lot of these contracts are starting to get those incentives popped in there. I don't know if they always have, but it seems far more common now. Like, who was it today? Was it
Miley?
Wade Miley, like $4.5 million with a $500,000 bonus? You know, if he or maybe they call them bonuses, you know, and
Yeah.
in baseball rather than incentives.
It's basically how much. It's basically like if you're going to stay healthy, because it's just like make this certain amount.
Right. Do you play 50? Yeah. Right. Like Miley would have to be in like 50 or 60 games or something like that.
Yeah.
As a reliever, right?
As a reliever, if he makes like 20 starts, like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always found that pretty weird how like you have like the NFL and NBA where like, yeah, they have like the giant signing bonuses, but like these guys just like demand trades all the time, and they get traded for the most part. But like the MLB, like that doesn't never happens.
Porzingis walked in.
That prevents you from that contractually in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
They do.
It's more the guaranteed money.
Well, right. It was Curt Flood was the guy that really, he was the guy that like ruined his career to give players the rights to free agency.
Yep.
But
all right.
If you're trying to shut us up, you win.
No, I'm not shutting you up. I'm just going to shut this down because
he's ready to go outside and hang out.
Yep. So everybody, stay warm out there. This is Pinwheels and Ivy podcast for K-Fids, Nuke, Aldo, I'm Zoe. We will see you next week. Hopefully we will have a big signing to talk about. But at this point, my answer to everything is sure. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Harper to the